All right, we've got the Zero SRS motorcycle. It's arrived already, and we've gone to the trouble of loading all the accessories on it. We put the bags on it, we got it all ready to go, and we're gonna give you everything you need to know about the Zero SRS in this video, so hang in there. Hey guys, so today we got our very first Zero SRS arrived today at the shop in the crate. And what's super cool about this is they've got all these accessories. So all these shad cases with mounts that are custom designed for the Zero SRS motorcycle. We're gonna answer some questions for you that a lot of people have had about the accessories and the motorcycle itself. The first question that a lot of people are asking is, can I put this fairing on my Zero SRF? That's the bike behind us there. The answer is no, you can't. If you want to have the Zero SRS, you're going to have to buy a Zero SRS. The way they've got it hooked up is the mounts for the fairing are actually welded into the frame on the SRF. So that's an important thing. The second question people are going to ask is, can I go ahead and put these bags? Can I mount these rear bags? Can I mount them on my SRF? The answer is no, you can't. Because the tail, you'll notice if you look behind me that the tail is much longer and different on the SRS than it is on the SRF. The back seat is a lot longer, gives you a lot more room for the passenger on the back of this motorcycle. So if you were committed to the idea of getting this luggage configuration onto your SRF, you'd have to change everything. You'd have to change the whole rear subframe of the motorcycle. Now, we're not saying that's not possible, but it is cost prohibitive for me, maybe not for you. Another thing about this is the top case bracket is different. The tail section is different. So if you want to put these kind of accessories on your SRF, check with your Zero dealer, because these accessories are available, but they're SRF part numbers. This is for the SRS. You're also going to notice that this bike now has a center stand. I'm going to go ahead and activate and show you the way the center stand works. It's really, really easy. I mounted it up today, and just like that. So now the bike is up on the center stand. You can see it wasn't really hard to do at all. The bike's about 485 pounds as you see it. So it's really, really easy to put up on the center stand. Now, I installed all of these accessories today. I installed the center stand. That takes about 25 to 30 minutes. I installed the side bags, the brackets that hold the side bags, and the quick disconnect shad side cases. I installed those. That takes about 45 minutes. And I installed the top case bracket, which takes about a half an hour. These are rough estimates. Your skills may, or your mileage may vary the amount of time it takes. But here's one thing to keep in mind. If you're going to do the top case and you're going to do the side cases and you're going to do them both, do the side bags first. Because there are a lot of things that you're going to need to take apart on the back of the motorcycle that if you've done the top case bracket already, you're going to have to undo it all again to get the side bracket kit on. So just be aware of that. That's something that we did decide to do the top case first, because the way we thought about it is most of our customers are going to want to do the top case, but they might not necessarily want to do the side cases. We wanted to put ourselves in their position, what it would be like to install the side cases after you've already made the commitment of doing the top case. So just to let you know, if you're going to do both of them, do the side cases first, follow up with the top cases. Seat height. Yeah, there's 3 seats for the SR platform. Now that is consistent for the SRS and the SRF, okay? 3 different seats. There is the middle seat, and there's 1 inch lower, and then there's 1 inch higher. So today, we took some pictures earlier with me on the bike and with Renee on the bike. So you can see that with the standard seat on, Renee has no problem getting her feet flat on the floor. And that's because this bike is lower than a lot of the other Zero motorcycles that we've seen in the past. So yeah, not a real hard bike for people who aren't super tall. Another question a lot of people are going to ask about that is the difference between the standard edition and the premium edition. It's very much the same way as it was with the SRF. The premium edition is going to have 2 3-kilowatt chargers. So you're going to have 6 kilowatts of onboard charging. You're going to have the heated grips. And for us, it's just, we're going to look at the ends of the handlebars. We're going to see the little metal handlebar weights on the end, or little handlebar ends. That's our tattletale around here for the difference between a standard model and a premium model. Aesthetically though, for the rest of the bike, it's exactly the same for the standard model and the premium model. The price difference is literally $500 to go from the SRF to the SRS. So it's actually a $500 price increase between these two bikes. The premium difference is still $2,000, just like it was on the SRF, to get you from standard model to premium. When you have these motorcycles, remember that from the factory, there are 2 places where you can get additional 12-volt power. So there's one up here in the front and there's one here under the seat area. And those are places where you can actually get 12-volt DC power that comes from a DC to DC converter, okay, that actually gives you the ability to plug in optional accessories like heated vests and things like that. That's consistent for the SRS and also with the SRF. The owner's manual tells you where to find those plugs so that you can plug in and get power very easily without cutting into the wiring harness and things like that. All of these bikes do have their own 12-volt LiPo battery, and that's for the automotive functions like the display and other things in the bike that require 12 volts that they don't want to run a converter from the big battery system down to 12 volts to operate. So they all have a standalone 12-volt LiPo battery. It's really cute. It's only about that big, really small, and that does a lot of the motor or automotive functions for the bike itself. Kind of an important thing. You're going to notice now that our luxury options, all the stuff here back that you see, is now shad instead of GV or GV. They've just decided to switch manufacturing or supplier. They've gone to shad now, and I have to say, the quality of this stuff is extremely good. It is on such a par with GV, and we are saying that as a dealer for 20 years of GV products, that this is every bit the fit and finish of GV. Shad's company headquarters is in Spain, GV's is in Italy. I do not know if they are sharing, what do they call that, cross-pollination? They could be, because this stuff feels so similar and its mechanical operating system is so similar, and even the keys are identical. If they are not sharing DNA, I would be shocked. But as far as the quality of the accessories goes, they are fantastic, and I put them on today. There's no shake, there's no shimmy, nothing. They are really built to stay on this motorcycle. Super, super good stuff and easy. I'd say that the home gamer can install all this stuff themselves. If you have a very moderate amount of mechanical ability, you will have no problem putting the stuff on. You're going to notice the foot pegs are different, and that is something that changes between the Zero SRS and the Zero SRF. The foot pegs are a little bit lower on the SRS, front and rear, and the handlebars are a little higher, which does give you a little bit more of an upright riding position than on the Street Fighter. And I do like that. I do think that the riding position and the peg position, everything in the SRS is fantastic. So thumbs up to Zero for doing that. Out of the crate, we got to say, prepping these things as usual. Just a really, really good job, Zero. No damage. Very well secured in the crate. Everything, the fit and finish on these is just shocking. One of the coolest things about Zero electric motorcycles is the way they deal with customers' issues. One of the biggest issues that we've had with the bikes since the SRF was launched was there was a body gap right here, and this body gap was like less than 1/4 of an inch. And it's actually where this hatch opens and closes. And a lot of people had complained that where this hinge mechanism was, that here at the front of the bike, there was about I'm gonna call it 1/4 of an inch. So there was 1/4 inch of a gap at the very front of it. It functioned great, kept the water out, did everything it was supposed to do. But standards are so high, or customer demands are so high with Zero electric motorcycles, that this body gap of 1/4 inch at this one seam, which is a functional seam, it's a hinge, it really, really annoyed a lot of people. Like, they were like pitchforks and torches over this. So Zero did address it. And if you have an SRF and you have that body gap and you want it taken care of, you can talk to your dealer. We've got kits now with new doors, and we are doing these on a case-by-case basis. Get in touch with your dealer. Get your bike in. He can fix that for you. Maybe you want to order the part ahead of time so that it can be done in a faster manner, so he'll call you when the part comes in, come in and get it taken care of. But it's great that that's the biggest thing that the Zero customers are worried about, or potential customers are worried about, is that little body gap flaw. So super cool job, Zero. On this bike, on the SRS, it's almost impossible that they did that front fairing the way they did it with no body seams and no, fasteners and gaps and, splits that you'd expect to find on a sport bike on the leading edge of a fairing. So, well done to Zero. All right, if you go ahead and check out our other videos, we've got the 2 demo rides that I took out in Scotts Valley last week while we were out there. We actually got to meet the bikes, take them out for demo rides. I had a really hot demo ride with TJ Doniak, who's their suspension engineer. He does R&D for their suspension. Fantastic guy, took us on a really, really cool ride. And then I went out in a larger group later on, and both of those videos are posted so you can check those out. What I wanted to talk about, everyone's asking about this front end. What is the aerodynamic gain? And yes, it's substantial. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump on the bike. Now the bike is up on center stand right now, so I'll be able to sit on the bike comfortably and kind of get into the racing or riding position to show you what you can expect on the bike and the way the riding position is on the bike now that we have the fairing and we have the higher handlebars and we have the lower pegs. So now my feet are in the comfortable riding position. You're gonna see I've got a lot of room, and I can move around quite a bit. We're gonna show you guys some still images of both me with Renee on the back of the bike and also me with James on the back of the bike. So you can see whether you have a normal passenger or larger size passenger, how much room there is with that luggage mounted up on the back. Now, riding position, couple of really neat things. The first thing you're gonna notice is the mirrors. The mirrors are in a very, very interesting position. My whole life, sport bike mirrors have come in off the front of the fairings, or they've been on the handlebars mounted up here. Usually when they're mounted on the handlebars up here, I've got a really decent view of the inside of my elbow. Likewise, when they're mounted up here, I have a very, very lousy view of what's behind me too. Whoever decided to mount these mirrors to the inside of the fairings down here, it is amazing. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I am actually looking perfectly over my hand, and the reflection is coming in below my hand. So I have a really good unobstructed view behind me, including the blind spot. And that's really, really a hard thing to nail with mirrors on any motorcycle. Yet on these, it's fantastic. I can just see the corner of my luggage, but meanwhile I've got this full wide view of the road behind me. That mirror placement, when we did our demo ride, I was very impressed by how well these mirrors are configured. Now, I've owned a few other motorcycles in my life that had the mirror in that similar position. I had a BMW RTP, law enforcement police bike, that had the mirror there too, but it was a fixed mounted mirror. And I had a Honda Pacific Coast that had the mirror mounted in that same fixed position. But they didn't do the cool trick this one does, and that is this folds in. And so that's super handy. So if you're gonna be going between a couple of parked cars, or you're gonna be parking the bike in some place you don't want your mirror to get hit, it is very nicely detented, so the mirror just folds right back, and God forbid you were to hit the mirror on something, it would fold back. I think that's a genius mirror design, so big thumbs up on the mirror design, really good stuff. Now, if you did want to add the mirrors like the Zero SRF, we did check it out. You'll have to buy the mirror bracket that is here on your front brake perch. That will give you the threads you need, the boss that you need to add the mirror up here. And the same for the left-hand side. It's a Zero SRF part number. You'd mount that up there. And then you'd have a mirror up here as well as the mirror down there. I don't know why you would want to do that. Some people like the idea. I have done it for customers before. We have had 4 mirrors on a single motorcycle for people who wanted to have one set of mirrors pointing in one place and another set of mirrors pointing in another place. We're not saying you need to go full Jimmy Quadrofini on this thing and have 18 mirrors, but you could do 4 on this bike with no problem whatsoever. Kind of cool. Now, aerodynamics. Let's talk about this awesome fairing. The windshield that's here, what I've learned is riding the bike at a normal, and this is normal. This is an absolutely completely normal, very, very comfortable, very relaxed riding position. And at up to about 60, 70 miles per hour, this wind that's coming off of here is not hitting my shoulders, but it is hitting my helmet. Now, as the speed increases and as I get lower and into the envelope, what we're seeing is I'm seeing this windshield does a hell of a job at creating a very nice place for me to hang out. And the fairing does a beautiful job of really keeping my knees and my torso out of the wind. We did talk to the guys at Zero, and they did say there will be aftermarket windshields available that can be purchased through your Zero dealers. So give those guys a call, make sure they've got your contact information if you own a Zero SRS, and be the first kid on your block to get the taller or different windshields, because we know that with all the previous generations of Zero, it was a very short time between when the bike came out and when many different options of windshields started showing up that were actually designed and endorsed by Zero. So they're designed to work perfectly with the bike. And yes, that will be happening. No, they're not shipping with 3 different windshields. The windshield is a fixed windshield. It is the way it is. Now, how much more range are you going to get because of all this aerodynamic change? Because we know with the SRF, and we know with any motorcycle, they tend to not be very aerodynamic because human beings themselves on motorcycles, we're not very aerodynamic. 13% more range as a result of this aero treatment. And 13% is a very big number when you're talking about the difference between going 100 miles and going 113 miles. I really got to say, that's a major number. That's significant. You would have to have a lot more battery on board to get you that extra 13%, and they're doing it with aerodynamic design. Well done, Zero. So makes a product that we're all really, really happy to have. And if we act like we're surprised or we act like we're excited about it, it's because we have really, really good reason to be. The color, the cerulean blue, and it also comes in a gray metallic, their colors are excellent. So they've done a very nice complementary color to the Boardwalk Red and Sea Bright Blue that the SRF is available in. So really good stuff. Hope this didn't drag on too long. I hope you got the information that you needed. I'm going to sign off because it's time for me to go ride. The snow is finally melted here. I need to take this bike out and enjoy it for a while. So guys, remember, ride fast, take chances.